in North Korea. The only imports I saw when I visited North Korea were the Mercedes-Benz cars that were driving up and down in Pyongyang. Because the only cars I saw in Pyongyang were Mercedes-Benz. And all this thing that they give you about this poverty-stricken, impoverished country, well, you certainly don't see that in Pyongyang. Because when you go to Pyongyang, you are seeing streets that are about 100 yards wide. You don't see a scrap of paper on the ground. I mean, all kinds of monuments. It's like a show city, huh? That's where, you know, you do, if you're a good worker in the provinces, they send you to Pyongyang as a reward. You know, it's a show city. So, and this country, who have they ever invaded? Who have they ever, who have they ever assassinated? Where have they tried to oppress and invade and exploit any other country? When have they dropped a nuclear weapon on anybody, you know? So here is this country just trying to live to themselves in accordance with their own philosophy. I mean, it's not a philosophy I would want for myself. The cult of the personality, you know, they have this veneration of their leaders and so forth, and they carry it to extremes, you know, real extremes. But that is their culture. That is their political culture. That is their thing, you know. And they have this concept of themselves. You know, we talk about the Korean War that America invaded. That's not their concept of the Korean War, because the Korean War was actually fought under the auspices of the United Nations. Yes, it was the Americans doing the fighting, but theoretically, it was the United Nations. So when you speak to the North Korean, he tells you, oh, the rest of the world invaded us, and we defeated the rest of the world. So their impression of themselves, they're the baddest people on the planet. Right? That's their interpretation of their history.
Like Barbados.
The rest of the world invaded them, not just America, and they defeated the rest of the world. So this is a people that are not going to be fearful, not going to be quivering in their boots because Trump says something. You see, so that's what he's dealing with the North Korean people. Very, very serious, self-reliant people with a strong sense of who they are. But the media, I saw a BBC documentary. They sent this BBC thing reported to North Korea, obviously to carry out a hatchet job, right? To give the worst impression. But you know, you can't fool the camera, right? So he's filming these things, and he, in his commentary, he's interpreting what he's filming in the most negative way. But the images are so strong of progress, of beautiful subway, you know, of people, dignified people, you know. So yes, but that's what we're up against. And the media is very important. Can we come together? Can we unify? Can we build these relations? Can we use reparations as an instrument to build these relations? And in building those relations, can we develop our own alternative means of mass communication? Okay, the brother there. Okay.
Peace and blessings. Thank you for very informative presentation. Good to see you after many, many winter seasons in the last time we've been here. I had 2 points I wanted to touch on. One would be a question. Second one in response to the media. The first one is about, I just wanted to know within your team or your work, have you, in what capacity have you worked on, especially on education aspect of it? Because in Africa right now, people do not understand, the governments have limited understanding of concept of Africans in the diaspora going back home. And I have an example of an elder who have been deported more than 12 times, trying to enter different countries several times. He passed 2 years ago, finally got accepted in Tanzania. But he started his struggle, he's from Jamaica, and he started this from 70s. In recent years, we heard of people like artist Yasin Bey or Mostef, who decided to denounce American citizenship and go back to Africa. But South Africa say, well, we don't know you. So my question is there a form or a document that maybe you can formulate so that we can use amongst ourselves and say, if I walk into Haiti or Barbados, I can be recognized and not be discriminated based on the country I was born, if I'm from the continent. And the same way we can use the same principle to have Africans in diaspora go to Tanzania not feeling that people are like, what do you mean coming back? And the elders say, well, I'm coming back home, and they don't understand it. So that's my question on that part.
Yeah, but these are all things that we have to work on, right? When I was director of the Pan-African Commission in Barbados, you know, in Barbados, anybody coming from a Commonwealth country, Ghana, Nigeria, Tanzania, South Africa, you don't need a visa to come to Barbados. So a Ghanaian can come to Barbados without a visa, but a Barbadian has to get a visa to go to Ghana or Nigeria, as the case may be. And when I was at the Pan-African Commission, the Minister of Foreign Affairs was saying, but you know, this is not fair, so we should require them to have visas as well. And I said to them, no, you have it wrong. You have it wrong. We have it right. They have it wrong. So what we have to do is convince them to get it right, not us now to go and put it wrong. Because we are doing the right thing. They don't need visas to come. So let us get them to reciprocate rather than we change, you know, our proper policy and put an improper policy in place. But these are some of the things that if we pursue a reparations program, these are some of the things that we will work on, you know, that we will work out. And that's why I'm saying, and I said it to Prime Minister Gonzalez already, and to Hilary Beckles, we need to recognize, we need to make our embassies part of the infrastructure of reparations. We need to bring in all the ambassadors and consul generals to have some kind of briefing, education briefing about reparations, that it is now official government policy, and therefore what are the implications, because they must have implications for how the embassies function, and you know, what is the worldview now? It must be a new worldview. So if we can get Africa to come on board, you know, and the more countries, the more areas, the more groups we can pull into this movement, and we discuss what are the implications of this movement, what are the imperatives, if we're involved in this, how now do we need to start relating to each other, what are the new perspectives. These things will become very clear, you see. So this is work that we have to do. It's not just going to happen. We have to do it. But we first of all have to convince ourselves that it is worthwhile doing, that it is a good thing, and that it is achievable, that as we pursue it, we are going to reap benefits in that pursuit. I have looked at it. I am convinced of all of those things. I am convinced that it can be won as well, because I have seen, I go back to that World Conference. The Americans eventually walked out in Durban. You know why the Americans walked out in Durban? They claim that they walked out because there was some resolution about Palestine. Nonsense. That's not why they walked out. They walked out because from the very outset of that conference, they had laid down this line in the sand. This conference will have nothing to do with slavery, with crime against humanity, with reparations. And they fought tooth and nail on that. That fight went on from Santiago de Chile. Then we went to all the preparatory meetings at the UN headquarters in Geneva. Many, many weeks and months of battle over that issue. about reparations, about slavery, transatlantic slave trade and racialized chattel slavery, and the legitimacy of reparations. That's what the battle was nothing to do about Palestine and the Jews. That was a fig leaf. That was, you know, a rationalization. It was about reparations. And we were so, I'll give you an example. At the same meeting in Santiago de Chile, first of all, we got the leader of the American delegation to Santiago de Chile, we got them sent home, right? We got them sent home because he accosted me and the Jamaican permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the corridors of the conference hall. And he was livid. You people, who the hell do you think you are? You believe you can charge us and condemn us and impose a sentence on us? And he's friggin'. So we went and reported it. This very undiplomatic. He had lost it, right? He had lost it because we were pushing this reparation thing. So we went and we drew it to the attention of the leader, the ministerial leader of the Barbados delegation, raised it with the Americans, and they sent him home. So then they sent a black woman out to take, he was a white man who had lost it. So they sent a black woman out to take his place. So the black woman, when she comes, somebody introduces her to me, you know. She said, "Oh, you were the guy who has been terrorizing my delegation." Yeah. So I just give you that story, right? Because it was like that kind of heated battle, right? When we won the thing, when they passed the resolution, it was a very last resolution because they were stonewalling. Very last resolution, the whole place erupted. The whole conference.